So let's talk about compliance now. Now, when it comes to compliance, we're going to talk about legislative and regulatory compliance and our privacy requirements. So it won't be a super long section, but nevertheless, it is going to be important. Now, when it comes to legislative and regulatory compliance, there are many laws out there that we have to follow. And as an information security officer, we need to be familiar with them. Again, I can't go over every one of them. That'd be a video series all in itself. But you're going to have to see the ones that pertain to your organization, your company, your business, of what it is that you're doing, whatever it is that you're supporting as the security professional. Now, some companies, they even hire dedicated employees to keep up with regulations. If they are a large enough company, or if they are a company that works with information that is somewhat secret and confidential and it can't be necessarily leaked out easily, these companies will hire these individuals. And that's all they do. They don't do data entry. They don't do physical security. They don't do other aspects when it comes to IT. They try to make sure that the companies are following the laws and staying within regulations. Usually a couple reasons. They don't want to get fined. They don't want to go out of business. They don't want their employees or upper management, executive management, to get in any legal trouble. So they're there to protect the company, protect the organization, and the personnel that's inside of that organization. So these folks are going to be very familiar with the laws, especially the laws that are specific to the company, again, or the organization that they're working for. Now, the Payment Card Industry Data Security Standard, PCI DSS. This is actually a new one on the CIB compared to the old version of the CISSP. The PCI standard, this applies to any business worldwide that transmits, processes, or stores payment card information, like your credit card information. All the transactions, those transactions that are used to conduct business with customers, whether that handles, thousands or hundreds of transactions a year or just one transaction a year, you have to follow this payment card industry security standard. All right, so that's a new one, PCI DSS. Now, we do have privacy requirements as well. Organizations, companies, businesses, they collect tons and tons of data. Now, that data can be shared, and it may not be. They're going to have policies. They're going to have procedures on what can be shared, say, with business partners. So if you sign up for a newsletter, for example, on one business, on a web-based business there, they may have business partners. And if you don't read the fine print, it says we may share your information with our business partners or whatever, and then you start getting emails from another company that you didn't necessarily sign up for directly, but you allowed them to indirectly. So that can fall under privacy requirements because you didn't give company B permission to use your email address, but you gave it to company A. But company A is a partner, again, with company B, and you checked the box or you didn't uncheck the box that says it's okay for them to share it with business partners like that. Now, there are lots of pieces of privacy and data protection legislation out there that are for organizations and for customers and for employees. They have to be concerned with privacy as well. The companies collect tons of data. Usually when you get hired on, right, you fill out all your federal, state forms for income and taxes and, all your information on your application as far as addresses, emergency contacts. There's phone numbers out there. You may have your Social Security, all kinds of information just for you as an employee inside of your company. So there are privacy requirements for that. So the Federal Privacy Act, very popular one out there for privacy and protecting individuals. HIPAA, the Health Insurance Portability and Accountability Act. All right, so if you're in the health field, HIPAA is going to be one that you need to probably be pretty familiar with. The Health Information Technology for Economic and Clinical Health Act, HITECH, is another one out there for our health cares. The Gramm-Leach-Bliley Act, right, GLBA, that one's here in the U.S. for us for economics. And then the Data Protection Act, actually over in the United Kingdom, the DPA. It's kind of like our Federal Privacy Act here in the U.S. So just a couple of them I wanted to familiarize with. Again, depending on your organization, depending on your company, your business needs is going to depend on which privacy requirements and compliancy regulation that you really want to focus on for your organization. Now, there are some legal and regulatory issues that you need to be familiar with as a CISSP. So computer crimes, licensing and intellectual property, import and export controls, trans-border data flow. Again, a little bit about privacy when it comes to regulatory issues, and finally some data breaches. So a computer crime. When we get to ethics, we'll talk about the CISSP ethics. Computer crimes is one of those questions you have to ask yourself if you're guilty of when it comes to getting your certification for CISSP. But what is a computer crime? Well, that consists of any criminal activity in which computer systems or networks are used as tools. You might see it defined that way. So if you are sitting in your basement or your mother's basement, let's go along with the stereotypes, right? Hackers sitting along in their mother's basements, eating Pop-Tarts and drinking Dr. Pepper all day long, and you are using your computer to do something malicious. You are committing a computer crime, right? You're hacking a business, or you're hacking a bank and you're trying to get information, or you're trying to break into somebody's email account or their social networking account. That is a computer crime. You're not allowed to do that. That is against the law. So you're using a computer system as a tool. Simply put, a computer crime is a crime, a violation of a law or regulation that involves a computer. So if you're using a computer and you're committing a crime with that computer as the tool, congratulations, you have just committed a computer crime. Now, there are many ways to attack a computer system, and you got many motivations to do that. And we're going to see some here in just a second, but you may attack a computer system over the internet. You may put something on a USB thumb drive, and hopefully somebody slips it in. You may put something on a CD or a DVD. I guess I need to say you, because we're security professionals, right? Somebody else may do all that stuff, and we're there to protect them. Information system security practitioners generally put crimes against or involving computers into a few different categories, and we'll see those categories along with the motivations here in just a second. So the crime could be against the computer itself. So you're taking one computer and attacking another computer. When you do that, what are you trying to get? That's right, I'm trying to get data. I want to get the good stuff, right? The social security numbers, your bank account numbers, all that PII that we're going to mention over and over and over throughout this whole video series. Or the computer could have been used in the actual commission of the crime itself. So different ways you can look at computer crimes. Now, some of those types, the motivations, what is it you're doing? Well, you could have business computer crimes. You could have corporate espionage, if you will, or your business is trying to attack another business and get their intellectual property, which we're going to talk about again here in a second. But you're trying to get their business secrets, their trade secrets of how they do whatever it is that they do. Maybe they're competitors of your company, and you need to get a leg up so you can attack that other business. You can commit a computer crime using that computer as the tool, or you could be attacking their computer or using your network, again, all synonymous with computer crimes, to get that information. You want to get their data so you know what they're doing, right? There's a couple movies out there about that, where one company will attack another company and try to get their inside trade secrets. You may do it for fun. Now, that's not, by the way, a good defense. You can't say, oh, well, I was just having fun. I just wanted to see if I could break into their computer system. Well, that might have been fun, and you might have, give yourself a attaboy pat on the back because you were successful in whatever it is you were trying to do, but you did just break the law. You used a computer to break into somebody else's computer. That is a computer crime. If you want to try it for fun, do it on your own computers. Set up your own home network. Put a computer over here, laptop over here, whatever you want to use. Go buy you a little switch and try to do it that way. Don't attack somebody else's computer just for fun because you're bored or because you just felt like it, or they're your brother or they're your best friend and everything's fine. Because your best friend's parents may not think it's fine and they may press charges. And now it's not so much fun because now you have a computer crime on your record, and it's going to be very hard if you try to get a security professional job, IT job. They're going to see that and think, well, what computer crime did you commit, sir or ma'am? And then you have to explain that to them. Might not be the best idea. You may have upset or disgruntled employees. Hear that all the time. Insider attacks or insider threats. The employee knows that there's some layoffs coming, and that's kind of upset them, right? They're losing their job. They don't know how they're going to support their family. Maybe they plant a logic bomb on the database server. So on the month anniversary of their getting laid off, now a logic bomb runs, and it runs a script that drops all your tables. Well, that's a bad thing because now all your database tables have just gotten deleted. So that would be a computer crime. They weren't there to actually commit that one, but they planted something using that computer as the attack tool. Could be cyber terrorism. That's the buzzword nowadays, right? It's been around for a little bit now, right? Cyber terrorism. That's the huge push to get these cybersecurity professionals. Everybody needs to be a security professional. Everybody needs to keep their eyes out open for these cyber terrorisms. Those are simply computer crimes as well. Now, what they do as a computer crime defines if it's for business, for fun, upset employees, or cyber terrorism. Usually cyber terrorism is used to just destroy things, steal things, trade secrets, government secrets. There's tons of cyber terrorisms out there. Could be financial attacks. They're going after the banking industry, for example, or finance or credit card companies. MasterCard, PayPal, they've been attacked before. Visa has been attacked before, right? So these companies have to be aware of these attacks as well. These are all computer crimes still, right? Not for fun, not by accident. You don't break into the banks, huge banks, for fun. It's just not something we do. Could be personal attacks, right? Maybe you don't like your next door neighbor, for example. Their Wi-Fi is interfering with your Wi-Fi, so you're going to go buy a piece of software that will allow you to hack their wireless access point. So you hack into theirs and you shut their network down. So now your network just runs fine. Well, that's a computer crime, all right? Still, it's personal, got it. May not be the best way to handle it, but you're committing a computer crime. You're still using that computer to do something malicious to someone else. If it's not your system, if it's not your data, don't use a computer to do something to their systems, their network, their data. If you do, you are committing a computer crime. You want to make sure, like, I've got some friends that are penetration testers. That's what they do. That's their career. They go around and they find the weaknesses and exploit those weaknesses for businesses. But I promise you, they don't just go do a penetration test and then hand them a report and say, oh, by the way, we hacked your network and your systems. Here's what you need to do to fix that. That's not the way to go about it. They actually just committed a computer crime if they did that because they didn't get permission first. If you want to play around with somebody like this, if you want to test things out, I've done it, right? I've been there. You can do that as long as you get permission. Ask your next door neighbor, hey, I'm taking a security class. Do you mind if I try to hack your wireless? Maybe they'll let you. I kind of doubt it. I don't know what kind of rapport you have with your next door neighbor. Might be best just to try to attack your own. But you get my drift, right? These are all computer crimes without permission. If you have some malicious intention of using a computer to do something that you're not supposed to be doing. And that kind of leads into licensing and intellectual property. Because we talked about 4 businesses committing computer crimes. Maybe they want to get their intellectual property. That's stuff that makes that company who they are. That belongs to them. You know, intellectual property is how you could be perceived due to past accomplishments. What you've done as a company, as an organization, that could be your intellectual property, how people see you. All right? This is property that you've created. It is your property. You did that. It's your company, your organization. Could be you're an artist, musician, or computer programmer, and you're freelance, right? Could be intellectual property that you have created that program that does whatever. That's yours. Could be part of your brand as well, your intellectual property. So we have intellectual property laws designed to protect both tangible and intangible items and property. Now, tangible is stuff you can put your hands on, right? Like if I created a computer, that's tangible. If I designed something, if I designed the latest, I can't think of a brand new piece of technology because we have so many out there now. Now we have the watches and the glasses and whatever. But let's say I created something like that, right? That's tangible, something I can put my hands on. But the way I'm perceived could be intangible. My reputation, my brand, as far as what I've done in the past, right, to create that. So an example, let's say Apple products. That's their brand, right? They've created the iPhone and then or the iPod and then the iPhone and then the iPad. And then they have now the watch, right? I think it's called the iWatch. Well, people understand that belongs to them. That's their intellectual property, all right? Because it carries the Apple logo. It carries the Apple name. That's an intangible product for Apple, the way they are perceived, the way they're seen. And then they have tangible items as well because they actually created the watch. That is theirs, and that's their intellectual property. Nobody else should be able to make a watch just like that because that's what they've done. So they probably use something like a patent, right? This protects novel, useful, and sometimes non-obvious inventions. So you come up with something that's mind-blowing, right? It's your invention. You invented the light bulb, right? I know you didn't because we already have them. But let's say you invented the light bulb. When you don't want anybody else to get credit for that, right? That's your intellectual property. You've done that. You did the math. You did all the physics and the science behind it to create this light bulb. So that is what you would want to go get as a patent because it is the strongest form of intellectual property protection. You can go apply for a patent. It's usually about 20 years that says that's yours. That's your invention. Good job. So a patent owner has a legally enforceable right to prevent others from using the patented invention for that specified period. Again, around 20 years or so. So if I created the light bulb, that's mine for 20 years. Now I can sell rights to it because you may think, well, you've invented it, that's great, but are you going to be the only one that sells light bulbs? If I have that patent, absolutely. But that's how people make the money, right? They sell the rights to it and say, well, you can make this light bulb and call it, your light bulb. So we have GE light bulbs, we have Philips light bulbs, we have whoever else creates light bulbs. That's just two that popped out on top of my head there for a second. But we have those companies making this stuff, but they've bought the rights to this. And then the light bulb was invented more than 20 years ago, so now it's kind of a free reign, if you will, of who can create what. Now, they can create a brand new light bulb, the latest and greatest light bulb, and go get another patent. Because patents, they're there to stimulate other inventions. Right? Just because you created the computer, right? You designed the computer, you patented that. You made the very first one. Well, we have moved on from there, right? We have other inventions off of the computer. Think about the cell phones you have in your pocket or on your desk. Think about the tablets that you may have. Think about the gaming systems that we now have. Think about the Bluetooth and the stereo systems we have in our cars, the way that airplanes and jets function now, the space shuttles and the rockets that we send into space. I mean, all of that uses computers. And think about how far we've come. It's stimulated other inventions to do more, better, to evolve. And that all stemmed from the very first computer. So once that patent's granted, it's published, right? Then it gets out into the public domain to stimulate other inventions. We don't want to stay stagnant, right? We want to move on, get better. You may also have a trademark. Now, projects, what a trademark does is it protects the goodwill, right, that merchants or vendors invest in the recognition of their product. So what this does, it gives the owners exclusive rights over the item for which that trademark was granted. Now, this is usually registered with the government, just like a patent, by the way. I don't know if I mentioned that just a second ago. You know, you have to apply for a patent with government agencies at the patent office. Trademarks, we do that the same way. So if that's your thing, right, if that's something you do, you could trademark that, and nobody else is really supposed to use that without you getting some type of recognition for it. So you could trademark specific things. I was trying to think of an example here. So I think on this one, but don't quote me. I'll go ahead and say it, but I'm pretty sure that Taylor Swift trademarked some of her lyrics in some of her songs. Because of she came up with it, she wrote the song, right? She was the artist that developed that. She can't patent that because she doesn't own the words, right? But the way the words were used as far as like specific phrases. So what she has done is trademark those. So if anybody uses those on like t-shirts or coffee mugs or mouse pads or whatever, she gets recognition for that and some type of compensation, or they're just not allowed to do that without asking her first. As an example, that would be a trademark. Now, copyright covers the expression of ideas. So this protects the artistic property such as writings and recordings. And maybe this is what Taylor did. Maybe she copyrighted those. But this protects computer programs from direct copying of the source code or software logic. So if I create something, the way I think of a copyright is if I create something, an app, I can copyright that app and it's mine. All right. Now, it might not be the only app that does that. It's not really a patent because everybody else can write apps. So I don't control that part, but I control, or I have developed that specific app. So I can copyright that and again, get compensation for that, or sell the rights or give it away or whatever it is for that particular program. So I could write an app, stick it on an app store somewhere and copyright it. That's mine. Now there could be variations, different flavors of that, because I mean, if you think of the app games, well, there's only so many different games you can play, but everybody's got their own flavor of the games. Like for the things that draw, like I don't even know what they're called, but where you line up the specific colors and they combine and they go away, right? They got different versions of that, different variations, and they're all copyrighted. Now, work done by an employee of a company as part of the employee's duties or using specialized equipment owned by the company creating intellectual property that belongs to that employer is called work for hire. So that may be another term in there. What we want to really focus on, though, is the copyright and what a copyright is. And then we have trade secrets. I mentioned this one when I was talking about the business computer crimes as well. So a trade secret is an intellectual property referring to proprietary business or technical information, the processes, the designs, the practices, what they do in their company. They're going to be confidential and could be critical to the business. Now I put on there, I said, think about Coca-Cola and KFC, right? They have trade secrets, right? Nobody's supposed to know the Colonel's secret recipe for Kentucky Fried Chicken, for KFC. That makes them who they are. That is their trade secret. They can't patent chicken, obviously. I mean, nobody could do that, right? But this is a trade secret on how they do what they do in their business to make money. And that sets them apart from everybody else, from all the other chicken places that we may have, for example. Coca-Cola, right? They're supposed to have their special formula that nobody else knows about, right? So that is a trade secret. All right. Another one just popped in my head is like the Bush's baked beans, right? He only talks to that little dog, right? That's a trade secret on how he does that, right? That sets them apart from all the other people that ship and, sell beans at the local grocery store. So those are trade secrets, proprietary to their business on how they do things.